What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Strictly Casual. We just watched episode 4 of The Last of Us, and damn, it was a good one. Damn, it was a good one. You
Oh,
know?
it really was. It was so nice to see. I saw the initial on Twitter was this felt so familiar that I saw, and I was like, that phrase is how I describe this episode. It felt familiar, and it felt like we're living in the world with these two characters that we've played and that we've enjoyed so much. They're starting to grow that relationship, and it was so nice to see them have that this week. Like
Yeah, I think that's something I needed.
Mhm.
When I was talking to people about what I wanted from episode 4, obviously there's game moments that I was super excited about seeing, but more of it was like, okay, I feel like in the show, I need a little bit of character development from Joel and Ellie. I already know what Joel and Ellie are like because of the game. Like I know where they end up. I know their progress and stuff. But from watching the last 3 episodes, I was like, we've only gotten in one episode basically of Joel and Ellie, a little bit in episode 3 and a little bit in episode 1, but nothing that is like for newcomers to The Last of Us. Nothing that is like, oh, I get their relationship now.
Yeah.
I get it.
Mhm.
And this episode, I
It's
feel like this is
getting
the
there.
episode to be like, okay, I get it. I get what this
Yeah.
relationship's going to be. This show isn't just about zombies or infected or whatever you want to call them. It's so much deeper than that. It's the next level of that.
Yeah, like I would even say, correct me if I'm wrong. There was no clickers in this episode at all. Like none of that. So
No
it was
clickers at all.
Like I think they were fighting some of the goons, some of the bad guys that were infiltrating the city. That hijacked them. But it was definitely just drama with them, dialogue. Great moments with them.
I found it really interesting, really interesting that they further developed that group, not to just be like a ragtag group, but to be like revolutionaries that took over the Fedra quarantine zone. Like I thought that was really interesting, addition there.
Yeah.
They didn't need to do that, but I thought it was good.
The funny thing is, I was like, I was telling my dad, there's a lot of humanizing going on with these villains. They're not just people that we're killing randomly. In the video game, you don't know who they are, but here you do.
Right.
And Neil Druckmann talked about in the little post thing, he said, I love to humanize villains. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
you do. And so we're seeing that in these characters about like, oh, there's motivation.
Yes.
They have their past, their history, and they're taking that out on the villain, Joel, right? He's the villain.
You want to speak about the villain? Yeah, well, that's the thing.
That's another thing, right?
We know Joel as low-key the villain, in a sense. If you play the game, like it's up for interpretation. It's not like he is the villain or he's not the villain, but it's this idea that The Last of Us is all about people making decisions, whether they're good or bad, and it's up to you to kind of weigh them like morally and ethically and whatever it is based on the situation. And they did a great job of that in this. Ellie talks to Joel and says, hey, have you killed an innocent person? Joel's like, come on, let's go. Like that sort of thing. And there's just like
hard.
a lot of, Joel talks about his backstory a little bit, being on both sides of that scheme, where the guy's acting like he's hurt. And he pulls out
I did what I could to survive. We know they have their past and they're playing around with their relationship opening up and we could see over the course of one episode how much development can happen. I think that was so cool that they start from one point. And toward the end, even the jokes, the puns that they had was like, that is so much unlocked for both of them. That is, man, I had a smile on my face the whole time. I was like, this is them. Look at them go. Like, they're so happy. Oh, it was just so nice to see.
It's so cool. And let's talk about the new character here too. We have, oh my goodness, what was her name?
Her name is Kathleen in the show. I don't know her act.
Yeah, Kathleen, she was cool. I don't know. Here's what I'm questioning right here. They introduced a brand new character she had 7 minutes of screen time, a very good scene where she's interrogating this guy, the doctor. But like Joel and Ellie in the game move on pretty quickly from this location. It's not like, I wonder if they're going to spend an extended amount of time here. They did, do the cliffhanger ending we'll get to the cliffhanger ending a little bit here, which is fantastic ending. I just thought it was interesting that they would introduce a character that might only be in this episode, maybe a little bit of the next episode, and that's it.
Well, I don't want to jump to that, but I think that is the possible connection between the mystery is she's searching for Henry, whoever Henry is, right? We don't know who Henry is yet, but she's like, look, we don't know where we don't know where Sam is. We're looking for Henry and Sam, and there's a reason why. Maybe it has to do with her brother. She talked about her brother being tortured. It has to do with probably Fedra, but it seems like they've kind of taken over a while after Fedra, so I don't know what the backstory is between her relationship with her and this Henry guy and Sam, who they are.
Right, and who's Henry and Sam? I wonder who those could be. No, I think the clues are there versus like the drawings that she finds and stuff is like you can tell that at the end of the episode they've run into Henry and Sam. I think. I think it's. I think so, unless that's a spoiler. No, but I'm pretty sure that is like context clues are there.
Yeah, no.
But like. In the game, they have a little story. There's a little story that is told through them, but I feel like they're gonna further develop that big time in the next episode. Like they might be in the entire next episode versus like a very short amount of time in the game. Like it was maybe a day worth of time in the game, which is tiny. Which is interesting too. I'm excited to see what they do to that. It's just just enough to where I'm like, okay, they're following the story here. It's the same big beats that I want from the story, but at the same time, they're delivering something that is new, like a little bit new and a little bit like interesting to kind of. I'm excited each week, even though I know the story front to back, but I don't know what the show's going to give, which is so exciting.
Absolutely. I also wanted to point out we are live, and if you're watching this after the fact, me and Vin will be chatting with you guys in the chat. You know, we like to point that out. We want to have a conversation with y'all. Tell us your thoughts on the episode. Hop in every week if you're watching this after the fact, and every Sunday after the episode, which next week it'll be Friday because of Super Bowl. But
welcome in, Emily. Welcome in. How you doing? How did you like episode 4 of The Last of Us?
We have Emily hopping in. Hello. I was going to say with Henry and Sam now, like the game, it's going to be nice that we have a starting point kind of Joel and Ellie, and now we can see their dynamic versus, let's say, Henry and Sam, someone who's more connected to each other. It's going to be cool to see, okay, who's better? How will that grow? What do they learn from each other, right? Like the relationships with each other. So that's gonna be fun. Where they go.
I don't know, man. It's super interesting because, I mean, another thing that I really liked about this is obviously the jokes and the puns are funny, and they're in the game too, you know, and it is, they use that in this episode very smartly to develop the character a little bit. Like the moment where they laugh at the end is so good.
Oh my gosh. I know. It's
so good.
It feels genuine. It feels so endearing and loving. And I felt so happy in it. I felt like I honestly forgot about the horribleness of the world, you know, because I'm like, this is just so nice to just, it's a guy, you know, it's like father-daughter having a nice laugh. It felt so separate. And I think that's effective for me. If it's working for me, then it's like great. I'm starting to love these characters as much as the game, right? And I'm like, that's good for me. That's on the right path. That's where I want it to go.
Emily says, loved the character-driven story between Joel and Ellie in this episode. I couldn't agree more. That's really where this shined. I was watching with my roommates, of course, who have not played the game, which is a great, I love hearing that perspective. That must be fun. You know? And there was a little bit of like, oh, more could have happened in this episode, you know? But I felt like the focus was the main two characters.
Because we haven't gotten them really. Like you said, it's episode 4.
All right, we haven't gotten them.
So we need that. We do need that.
We're halfway done, right? 8 episodes? 9 episodes?
Yeah, we'll be no. We'll be halfway, I guess, next episode because there's 9. There's 9 episodes.
There's 9 episodes. Okay.
So next week in the middle.
Oh, man.
5. But see, that's what I'm saying. It's like episode 4 feels already so like they're so like this kind of. And so I can't imagine how much closer that we're going to see them develop over episodes 5, 6, 7. That's a long time of them little moments.
They added another scene here too, which I really liked, where they're kind of camping outside the car at the beginning of the episode, which that was cool. I thought that was really nice too. A nice addition to the characters as well. But I think the other big thing to talk about here is Ellie shooting that guy.
I was just going to say, good point.
That is the next big piece. How did you feel about how they portrayed all of that?
I do think it is a change. We could say it's a change from the game in the sense of from the game she kills the guy, so it was her first kind of murder, right?
But she doesn't kill him in there, right? Or does she kill him in there?
That's the thing. It's like it was a different place, and so I guess they were trying to say that moment where he was getting choked out was the moment that she shoots him,
which is great,
dead. But he's not dead, so it's great. But and there's also backstory of her saying, I've hurt people before, which I do think, of course, we'll get into in the backstory of her and Riley and maybe her time at the federal school, right? Who knows what they could add or what that's about.
Because we know very little about that time as well.
Yeah, and we're going to get some of the school and kind of what her life was like before Joel.
Yeah. Cool. Do you think we'll get a little bit of that with Riley?
Un poquito. Maybe like
the
intro of that app. If that's a whole episode. I don't know if that's a whole episode, but I do think,
Emily says, I think Joel will realize that she shot the guy to protect him.
Yeah,
I think he does have that realization. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when they have that conversation in the bar that's all boarded up or whatever, that's the closest we get to Joel being like slightly emotionally vulnerable in a sense with Ellie, being like, "Are you?" Well, first, Ellie asks him if he's okay, and then Joel has like a quick realization, like, "Oh yeah, are you okay?" Yeah. Like that sort of thing.
Yeah,
It was not first nature for him to like start that conversation. It was super interesting that she prompted that out of him, which is it's great. It's great.
Even the line of "I'm not good at this," and it's like, like he hasn't been a dad or a really nurturing person in 20 years. Like he doesn't have that good bone in him anymore. So she's pulling that out of him, of the old person he was, right? And even him, the moment of him giving her the gun, that was very huge for Ellie,
Right.
And it's like, it's so nice.
This is a solid episode. This is a really, really good episode. I think that this episode could potentially be like overshadowed by some like bigger events that might happen, but it's one not to forget. I think there are moments that you need here that are going to make those moments later so much more impactful and hit so much harder because of episode 4. So I'm stoked, dude. I said it 3 times throughout watching this tonight. I was like, how happy am I? That we're getting a show like this. That's what I'm feeling.
And I have a question for you and really everybody at home who's played the game. Like from the game, we played as Joel. We know the relationship is Joel kind of growing a love for Ellie, and we see that unlocked. But it feels like this episode was focusing on Ellie's point of view, more of her self. Like, you saw her expressions, right? And they were kind of focusing on her POV most of the time when it came to her receiving the gun and her feeling that care with the jokes. I don't know. It feels like we're focusing on her side more for Joel than it is the other way around, because I feel like Ellie was so separate in The Last of Us, and she comes to us in the game.
Like The Last of Us is Ellie's story or Joel's story?
In
general.
Ooh. You know what? Overall, maybe in like the true sense, maybe Ellie, it is her story, and he's the support. He's the, he's the protector, right? Like she's the lead and he's the protector, but it could be seen the other way around. Yeah.
It's because at first, if you're going into the show blind without playing the game and stuff, you're like, oh yeah, it's about Joel. He's got to do this, he's got to do that. But then, I mean, obviously it expands to a point where Ellie's not just the cargo. She's an important character, and she's important to him, which is very, very cool too. Melissa, what's up? Welcome in. Hello. So glad to see you. Did you watch Last of Us episode 4, and what did you think of it? Thank you guys so much for being here too. This is amazing. Ryder, anything else from the episode that kind of like stuck out to you that you're feeling like? Melissa says, "Of course I did. Let me hear the thoughts. What do we got?"
I love it. Hey, we're happy to hear it. I'm glad people are liking it
too.
I did see a lot of the reviews for this episode were already pretty good so far off the bat, so that's always nice to see. I
didn't even look. Were they
just like, I think like initial reviews from reviewer copies? Like they released like a few hours before the episode, so it's like they always like. On IMDb, I believe it's like 9.7 already with a couple. So I'm like, oh wow, it's already getting...
This was a 9.7?
I think so. This one was just as good as last week's, which is like, oh yeah.
I don't want to wait for the next episode either, Melissa. Have you played the game? Do you know kind of what is in store for next episode? Because God, I can't wait to see how they do it.
The good thing for everybody, you don't have to wait that long. Friday, because the next episode, I only found this out initially from Twitter. So if you don't know, next episode's coming out Friday night because of Super Bowl. Friday evening, so keep up with that.
Which is great. Also, how cool is it that each week more and more viewers? What are you gonna say? Wait.
There was a thing. The voice actor of Tommy has an appearance in this, and I thought it was so nice. It's funny too because so for those of you that don't know, the voice actor of Tommy, Joel's brother in The Last of Us game, the actor is a character with Kathleen, like her right hand man
in the show.
Yeah, in the show. He doesn't really change. I mean, he has a great voice. He's a great voice, and he doesn't really.
The voice
he changed. It sounds like Tommy.
Tommy's voice. Like when I hear him, like, oh my God, it's Tommy.
Yeah. So it's just funny to hear him go like, Kathleen, I don't know about this, and I'm like, Tommy, what?
You're like, Tommy, wait, what a second?
What's going on? Yeah.
Melissa says, I didn't know Last of Us was a thing until like a week or two before the first episode came out. Melissa, I am jealous kind of that you're experiencing it for the first time like this. This game challenged my teenage years when it came out at first.
Yeah,
it's still a challenging game.
I'm getting
not in a challenge as like this is a difficult game. It's like a challenge of the themes are very challenging to your life. Yeah, I would say
for me as well. My dad's always asking me, "This is what you played when you were 13, 14? This happened? And I'm like, yeah, I was 14. This happened.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, I knew all about this.
Yeah.
See, Yeah, episode 3 had a lot of people crying, man. I'm thinking about that.
My roommate caught up on that today too, and he's like, "This was so sweet. Like everything about it was just so sweet."
Yeah, it was good to see a lot of the love online for sure.
Oh my god, so really nice. Good.
Yeah,
I'm just so excited about this. I'm so excited that the show exists, that it's a real thing.
The good thing about this show too is that we're going to see relationships. It's all about the relationships, right? And we're seeing every episode they're kind of focusing on a person or a character, whether it's new introduced or someone old like Joel and Ellie, So
yeah,
I think it's gonna be cool that once we meet Henry and Sam officially and kind of learn their story, it's only gonna get better from there because there's them and Tommy and more.
I can't wait to see why they are developing it more. Like there must be a reason for this, like more development for these characters to see. So, there's just Ryder. I keep thinking about these moments from the game that we have not seen in the show yet that are coming up in the next couple episodes, and it gets me so excited. I'm not going to say it because I know there's people in chat right now that have not played the game, and I don't want to spoil those moments because those moments are perfection, experiencing that for the first time, and I hope so badly that the show will translate that just as well as the game does.
Absolutely, you're 100% right. I look back at some of the moments, the cutscenes in the game, and there is one moment too that I think about that I'll probably tell you about after. But when people get to it, it really is the penultimate beautiful moment before it kind of all hits the fan. But I'm good. I mean, I think we covered all the bases, and I know it is shorter, but nothing.
I think we covered all the bases too.
More great stuff to be said, but I once we meet Henry and Sam more, I think there'll be a lot to dive in with their story.
Fantastic episode, and I cannot wait for Friday for episode 5. Do you have anything else to mention before we close it off here?
No, just again, everybody, let us know in the comments, like different moments, like specific moments too that really touched you. I guess specific moments that we haven't pointed out.
Not even just specific. Let us know if you watched, if the show's your first time in this world, or if you've played the game first, because that might change kind of your thoughts too. And if there's any other things. Anybody in chat that wants to bring something up too before we end this little post-show episode, please do. We would love to talk about it. Super, super awesome. Also, I'm really turning around on. I'm really liking Pedro as Joel and Bella as Ellie.
Dude, for me and Bella is like, oh man, she's so good.
Yeah, she's doing it. Wow. She's doing it. It's not like I was expecting them to be bad. Like I know this casting was like. At first I was like, oh, they don't look like the characters, blah, 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 blah. But like, it's for a reason. There's a reason that they were casted as the characters they are by Craig and Neil. Yeah. And they're really growing on me. And I think this episode cemented that this is them, Ellie, right? This is Joel.
Yeah, because it's hard when you first initially get in the show. You're kind of like, okay, these are actors, right? But it was this episode where I was like, oh my gosh, I've lost that from them, and it's Joel and Ellie, like fully, and I was like, wow, this is great. It's weird, the one. But yeah, okay,
it's so great. I love it.
There you have it, ladies and gents. I hope you enjoyed. Man, Last of Us every week, Sundays after the episodes. We'll expect next week's Friday. And we'll be here.
Yeah, and we'll see. Post show on Friday, I would say.
Post show
if we can.
If we can. Yeah, we'll try our best. Follow our Twitter because that's where we have our updates and stuff like that. But we got more stuff coming on the channel. Different stuff.
Amen. Always do.
Always do.
Always check back for the podcasts and the clippies.
That's it.
We love you guys. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace out.